All right, so I'm going to walk you through this episode on how I day trade small cap stocks. This episode, I'm going to focus on a couple things here. I want to focus on how I time and entries and exits. I want to show how I scale into a trade and how I scale out of a trade. And then I want to show you the importance of focusing on time, triggers, and level two, and how everything works together in order to take really good entries. So I'm going to show you exactly a live trading archive of how I trade, and then we can go more into depth of what is my entry, what time I got in at, why I decided to get out at certain levels. But I wanted to walk you through of what I'm really looking for at first. So I have a little bit of a drawing board here. And so what I first look at when I sit down in the morning is I'm looking at the scanners. And at the scanners, I'm seeing a couple different things here. I'm seeing, first off, what is the leading gainers of the day? What stocks are hitting the market now, and what is the news coming in for, previous or right now? Maybe it's 7 a.m., news is dropping, some stock, you can click on it. It'll take me to the chart and I can look at it. So, a couple different things before I even decide if I want to take a trade on a stock is, first, I look at the float. I want to see that the float is below 20 million shares of volume, or 20 million shares. I want to see that it's maybe even below that, 10 million shares, 1 million shares. Less than 1 million shares would be ideal. So the lower the float, the more it's interesting and appealing to me. I want to see it have high volume, so high relative volume coming into the stock as it's going up. I want to see the price between $2 to $20 a share, and I want to see that it has fresh news. If it has all those criteria, I'm interested in it, and then we go from there. So a couple different things that I'm looking for here is I'm focusing on the time being one of the main factors of a stock moving. Uh, you're going to see the importance of timing and entry later on. And then we want to know that there's triggers. So make sure there's triggers forming for the setup. And then also level two, we want to see volume coming through on the tape. And this one is the most important of them all, right? So level two is very important to watch and read and participate. If the stock is moving up, it's going to do really well based on level two. And what does the level two show? The level two shows a couple different things. How many orders there are on the market. So it looks like this box right here, right? You're going to see how many orders there are on the market. So let's say there's one share at a price at $1, and it's going to show what market that's on. So we're going to make sure we have an idea of what we're watching for level two. If you haven't already, I explained how to read level two in a previous video. It's a couple videos ago. It's really important to know how to trade level two before you get into day trading these momentum gainers and these stocks. So let me jump into a live recording of me trading a stock SGN that is currently gaining on the day, and we can look at my entries on this stock. I made 200 bucks on this day of this trading this stock, and so it's really important to watch and see how everything moves. So this is SGN. SGN is currently a stock that is one of the leading gainers in the market. We're currently up almost 200% on the stock, and I'm looking to take one of my first trades. I'm already up $10 on the stock before I started recording, and it's 6:30 a.m. So I just sat down. I'm waking up. I probably took a shower, brushed my teeth, just sat down, and immediately I see the stock moving on the gainer scanner. And so, just like we saw earlier, we're gonna see these stocks hit these scanners, and then I just click on it after it alerts me and shows me, hey, this stock is moving right now. Pay attention to this one. It could make some potential moves. So how do I decipher what entry I want to get into? I first look at the time. I see that it's 6:34:06, and it's really important because every candle forms on this chart at 1 minute intervals. So this is 1 minute ago, this is 2 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, and 4 minutes ago, and so forth. And you just keep deciphering that. We read candlesticks from right to left, and we go from there. So what are we looking at for our first entry here? I'm going to look at the level two and see that we're below $2 a share. This is going to be the ask. This is going to be the bid. I have a video explaining on what everything is on that. So go watch that video, come back if you don't know, and then we can go from here. But so I'm looking at my first level here. I'm seeing to myself, like, if this stock gets above two and wants to hold, I could potentially take an entry for a scale going higher. So I'm gonna press play here, and we can watch this stock together. So the first entry I look into is SGN is a break over two. So right now we're over two, and now we need to take a second and pause. a lot of the trades that I take are very similar. And why they're very similar is because, stocks move in patterns, and I'm there to ride the pattern and make money off of it. So I'm just waiting. Just because a stock is moving doesn't mean you need to hop in it immediately. Wait for some bid support, wait for people and buyers coming through green on the tape, and then supporting that stock as we're going up. So I'm looking at a trade right here at 634. And so we're looking at it at $2 a share. There's a possible entry up over this level, right? So I'm looking, I'm watching. That could have been a nice entry there. I'm watching the time, I'm seeing the time frames. So what is really important that I'm watching right now is what time is it? After the break of a new candle, it's possible that more buyers will come in after it proves that it can hold over a VWAP. So I'm watching on the 1 minute candle to see what it wants to do in this area. It's kind of curling down below two. I'm thinking to myself, there's a possible entry in anticipation break over 210. So I'm watching here to see if it holds 210. And my first entry could be just over $2 a share, looking for the squeeze over 210. So right now, here's what we're watching. A new candle just formed. That means probably fresh momentum coming in and possible new buyers. So let's watch here and see if it can go over two. And if it does get over two, I'll probably take a trade. So let's see if it wants to scale over two. There's over two. Let's see if it holds two and breaks. I'm just waiting to see. I add here. So I added for 202, looking for the squeeze up over 210 and an extension over 230. So that's my target. I'm in anticipation for the break of 10. If we get the break of 10, I'm looking for the extension up to 220 and 230. So these are the levels that I'm looking for when I'm buying this stock. So here's the extension up over. It's a little bit hesitant. You can see a big seller on the ask here. So I'm looking for this extension up over 205, 210, and then squeeze through 220. So you get 210 there. That's a little bit of a profit target that I'm taking half off the table. So I'm scaling out as my entry. I'm seeing some green on the tape still coming through. We get 222 and looking for the extension up over 230 potentially. So I'm holding a quarter of my position and there's 230. Now I'm looking to take some more off the table. And then, so right here, you could see where I'm adding in for the anticipation of the breakout, and then I'm scaling out of my entries so I can take more profit out of the trade. I don't know for certain that it's going to go back to high a day. So that's why I can take some profit off the table, make sure I can pay myself. I have a little bit of cushion on the day. I took a trade earlier, it didn't go too well, and now I'm getting my feet set into the market. So it new candle formed again. I'm watching here to see if the new candle breaks. Currently, it's a red candle forming, so a little bit of a pullback. We have support in this area, so I'm just watching and seeing if we can, get a little bit of a dip by here for the extension up going higher. So that was a nice little bounce off of VWAP. I'm watching the time very closely. It's very important that time is definitely relative to price action. So let's just watch the timing here. My next trade should be here soon. So 702 here, I'm looking for the extension up higher, looking for the break over 220 and potentially a squeeze over 234. So that's what I'm watching. I add there and I take profit in this area. So let's just watch that back one more time. So new candle formed at 637. See how it made a new candle? It dipped down. I looked for the extension up higher. My add is just in this area. So it started to curl back up. Potential add over 217. I add at 218 for the break up over this 1 minute candle. We have a little bit of a bottoming tail here. That's perfect. That's what we want to see. So I add up over 218 and immediately it pops to 240 and I take half off the table. So I'm holding half my position here or a quarter of my position, looking to see if we want to scale up over 250. And it kind of did like a little bit of a topping tail there where it immediately took some off. So a little bit of a topping tail up to 250. And so, you're reading price action here. And sometimes it can be a little bit dominated by sellers, especially when you have a stock that it's this cheap where sellers see a stock pop up and then, they immediately hit the bid on it. And so they can force the stock down. So some short sellers definitely came in on the stock, a little bit of a false breakout. But what am I watching now, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I had a couple nice trades. I'm kind of watching, watching for the next setup. We might not get one for a second, but I'm going to quickly skip here and show you the next, we kind of curl back up here. I'm going to show you the next trade. So I take the next trade just in this area, 640.05. New candle form. Remember, timing is very important. So we're timing our entries to make sure that they're going the right direction. And so, just like we talked about earlier, timing entries is looking for a trigger, looking for some support, and then timing. Timing is a very key factor. So once again, I'm looking for the break up over 31 and then potential squeeze. So there you go. I add at 32, and then I'm looking for a squeeze up over 240. So a little bit of support here. We're watching the ass. That's 240. I immediately take half off the table. Hits my target. Now I'm waiting for the break over 250. Now we get 255. There you go. And I'm slowly scaling out of my position as this is going higher. So once again, that was a really nice trade. I'm taking one entry and I'm scaling my profits out as it's going up higher. So I have an immediate cut loss. So what? Let's say if that trade went wrong. What am I looking for? If that trade went wrong and I got in at 232, my potential spot that I'm willing to take my profit off, or take my loss rather, is just under this level underneath here. So that would be around like 225. So instead of, capping my winners, I'm going to let my winners go as high as they want, but I'm going to let my losers get capped, just below the previous low of the candle. Because if it's going to break this candle and break the pattern, I don't want to be in it anymore. I don't want to be in a falling knife. I don't want to be into a trade that's not going well. So I'm looking to look for my triggers, time, price, and then also volume. And if it meets all three of those, I'll take the trade looking for the extension up higher. And if we don't get that, I'll immediately cut the loss because I need to cap my losses and my winners can scale. If it's not going right away, it's probably not going to go out at all. So that was a really nice trade again. Looking for the extension up higher. This is really nice. So a little bit of a topping tail there at 180, and I took all my profit off there. There's a potential rebuy at around 280 here that you can buy. So 280 there for the break, 290. So that's a nice trade as well. Did that fall in with time as well? Let's look. New candle formed here. Timing is on your side. Potential breakup over 280. So you see green on the tape come through, and then 290, and then possible squeeze up to 3. Now slow grind up to 3, and it worked. I'm looking for the break of 3 now on a new candle formation, possible new candle forming, and a squeeze through 3. So I'm watching for the squeeze through 3 here. Possible add at 3. I take the trade at 3. So remember, 642.08. All these trades have something in common, and that's time. It has time in common. If you haven't picked it up already, watch a couple of the trades back and see what time I took these trades at. So that's a squeeze up there for a little bit of profit. I'm trying to see if it wants to break 310. I don't want to get caught in a little bit of a false halt here because sometimes these stocks can trade around these areas. Nice, up to 320. So you can read the level 2 here. It's really important. That's what I'm watching here to see if it squeezes. Now 320 there. Let's see if it wants to squeeze up a little bit higher. I'm taking a little bit of profit off. And then I'm getting ready for the next trade. This one scales up a little bit more. And then it does a little bit of a pullback and I'm out. New candles forming. I'm out of this trade. So what am I watching for now? I'm watching to see if this wants to do a little bit of a nice dip. And I can probably take an entry off of 3. There's a potential for that. I'm going to wait for the next trade here. So a little bit of a dip there, just below 3. That's nice. Dipping down to 280. That's also nice. So I was looking at this new 1-minute candle to form and squeeze back to highs. So sometimes what can happen is, after a stock reaches a certain level, it gives a pullback. And after that pullback, it sometimes retests that level, tests to see if it wants to go higher, and then curls back lower. So sometimes we can get these dips and these pops back up. So I'm looking for the break over 290. We have a new 1-minute candle forming. So if it breaks over 190, my stop is just at this low at 274, and I'm looking for the squeeze back to 320. Let's see if we get it. So there's your entry at 393 or 293, sorry, looking for the squeeze back up to 310, 320. So I take some profit off here for this little bit of a dip. We want to see if this gets back to 320. Here's 310 on the ask. Trying to see if we can get over 310 and possible squeeze back up. Nice 1-minute candle forming. It's very bullish here. 320, 325, 350, and immediately it squeezes back up. But why did this work? Why didn't it just keep going lower? Here's a couple different reasons. I'm going to scale this back. One of the reasons why it worked so well is because volume on the downside was really good. If you see a couple candles and they're forming red, first look at the volume. Right here, we can see down here that volume is decreasing as price is going down. So sellers aren't pushing the stock further down. They're getting out of the way of the stock. This is exactly what we want to see in a trade. It's picture perfect setup here. It's a 1 minute breakout pattern as well as a candle a pattern that gave a nice dip and it gave some bottoming support for a bottoming tail and then squeeze back to the high of day and over it. So I'm going to watch that again here. So look at the time, 244, new candle form, looking for the squeeze over 290. That's 293. I added, looking for the squeeze up. I take half off here, get a little bit of resistance at 3. Looking for the scale up over 310. I take a little bit more off at 310 there. So here's 310. Possible squeeze over 310. A lot of green on the tape here. A lot of buying coming through. It's kind of thinning out. You can see the orders on the ask here thinning out. 310, 315, 322. Buyers coming in. 350. So that was a picture perfect trade there. That was awesome. So now I'm up $52 on the day, and I'm thinking to myself, is this stock done on the day? Can I squeeze a little bit more out of the stock? It kind of just made a topping tail there. It hasn't really given a sign of pullback just of yet. Volume is still increasing on the way up. That's how I know, this move isn't getting exhausted anytime soon. Volume is increasing as it's going higher. More and more buyers are coming in. More shares are being traded. This is really important to watch. So a little bit of a pullback here. Let's see. New 1 minute candle formed. It's red. So potential squeeze over a 353 here. So next trade, new candle forms. It was a green candle. I'm looking for extension up over this level. So new candle formed here, right? I'm looking for the squeeze up over this level. Let's see if we can get it. So I add there at 45 on the new candle, looking for the anticipation breakthrough 555 or 355, sorry. So there's 355, 356, looking for the squeeze, 355, breaks, 360. Let's see if we get high a day here. A little bit of resistance in this area, but we did break that 1 minute candle formation, which was really nice. So just up $78 on this stock as it's going higher, looking for the breakthrough high a day. As I see resistance come through and some sellers down here, you can see a big seller in this area. I'm taking some profit off. So I'm actively watching the tape here to see where the stock is moving and how it's reacting to these levels. And if I don't like how it's not pushing up higher, I'm taking half off, half off, half off. So wait for the new 1 minute candle to form, a little bit of a topping tail there. And now I can take a step back and say, okay, this stock is not moving anymore. It just went to new highs. It didn't break those highs and rejected. So now we need a little bit of time to recoup ourselves. The stock needs a little bit of time before it wants to make new highs. So sometimes in these periods, I'll sit back and I'll just watch. I'll observe and I'll see dips. Sometimes there's momentary dips in these levels. I'll watch here, looking for the squeeze. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I just made some, pretty good gains on my small account. Let me take a big account trade. Let me move to my big account where I can risk a little bit more capital in order to, push the stock even higher. So let's see if we can get a big account trade here. So a little bit of a dip off this level. So I take one more trade off the 9 EMA here in my small account. I took a dip off this level. So I saw some support come in. I added off of that. So new 1 minute candle formed. A little bit of support here at the 9 EMA. So I took a dip off this entry, looking for the extension up higher. So I took a dip off of this entry. Possible add here. I take some off because I see some resistance come in. It hit a little bit of my profit target there. And then it squeezes to 40. Take some more off. And then all of a sudden, it's back up to 50 here. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, this stock is really, really strong. There's a really good momentum on the stock. And I'm just reading the level 2. And I'm like, hold on a second. If this new 1 minute candle forms and it closes above this candle, this is bullish. This previous 1 minute candle has really light red volume. So the potential squeeze up higher is very, very strong. So I'm just watching here, right? So new 1 minute candle formed, and now we're making high days. And that really surprised me, especially because there was a topping tail in this candle right here. And so now I'm watching this stock and I'm thinking to myself, if this wants to hold this level and continue going higher, I'm there to trade it. So I'm just watching here, seeing if there's a trade to take. New 1 minute candle form there. It's a red candle, unfortunately, not able to hold over these levels. But if this wants to hold up, I might be able to take a trade on this. So just watching. I switched to my big account looking for a trade. We're down at support here, right? So new candle formed. It's a little bit of a bearish signal. But if MACD can cross back over to the positive, this could be a nice trade for the upside. So I'm just watching. MACD is cross negative. I don't take that trade. I don't really like it. It bounces off VWAP here. This could be a nice entry. So I'm watching around this level to see what it wants to do. It bounces off VWAP, which gives a nice signal. And now it's back up to 2030, right? We're kind of in that area where we're just holding these levels. We're back up to 30 here, looking to see if we want to squeeze up higher. So I'm watching these support and resistance levels. We just bounced off VWAP, which is the orange line right here. And then now we're back up to 40. This is a really strong pattern. We're starting to curl back to the upside. I'm thinking to myself, this could be a nice trade in my 1 minute or in my big account. So I'm watching here and I take a trade, but watch what time it is. It's 7 o'clock. Here's what I know about 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock is where most brokerages that retail traders use open up on the day. So they're able to trade at 7 a.m. when the market opens for them. So that brings a whole new wave of traders, right? So at 7 a.m., I'm thinking to myself, if this can hold up this level and break over 252, we could see a potential squeeze back through high a day. So this is where I look at the stock. I'm thinking to myself, 52. I see 53 print and I'm adding. Immediately, I'm in a 1,200 share position looking for the squeeze up through 70. I immediately take some off the table just in case this wants to, flush on me. I'm scaling out of the trade as we're going up even higher. Same situation. I've traded the same setup every single time. So I'm looking for the squeeze as it goes higher. So this is an $82 trade. Looking for the squeeze up over 93. There you go. Take some more profit off. What a wonderful trade. Back through high a day. That was one of the best trades of the day right there. What I could have done better is scaled out less quick so I could have more profits. If I could do that in hindsight, that's exactly what I would have done. So that's one big trade in the big account, and I move back over to the small account. I'm looking for a little bit more profit and a scale through these levels. And so I'll just watch here as we want to continue going up on the day. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, what is the next level we need to break? We need to break $4 a share. Let's see if this candle closes green, potential add and a dip off this level. So new candle form there, looking for the squeeze up higher. I add at 390 for the break of 4. There's $4 a share. No, I cut it. I cut it for a loss. We get just under 4. We can watch level 2 here. Level 2 is saying, we're at 398, but back down. So I take the loss, right? Because there's a little bit of resistance in this area. I can get back in if I need to. So a little bit of support in this area. 301 here, right? 301, 302. I add back, looking for the squeeze up over 4. I take a little bit off. I'm still seeing this resistance. It's very thickly traded now. There's a lot of buyers and sellers in this area. I'm still looking for the break over 4. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get it yet. So back up to 4 there for a split second, but not. So this one breaks over 4 finally. I'm waiting for the new 1 minute candle to form before I get in at an entry prematurely. You don't want to get in something that is going up too quickly because you could be buying the top. So once again, I'm waiting for the next setup, a little bit of a dip here, extension higher. So there's a little bit of consolidation area, right? Does it want to break up to the upside or downside? We're kind of waiting to see. The stock is already up on the day, a pretty good percentage. We're up 192% on the day. So I'm actively watching this area. Next setup, I'm looking here. I'm waiting for the next trade. It's curling down to the lower side now, unfortunately. And all of a sudden it's back up here. I'm thinking to myself, if this wants to go, it might go now. So I'm waiting for the next trade here. Watch the time. It's 7:13 now. A little bit of a dip here. Potential dip entry. I add there long at 375 and I take profit at 385. See if this wants to start scaling up higher. That was a dip trade. That's a nice dip trade right there. Possible new entry coming up to 714. Watch the time. New candle, new 1 minute candle formation here. Looking for more volume to come in. Volume's coming in now. I add there, looking for the break of 390. Kind of stalls out, not really going up higher. I take a little bit of profit off the table, looking for the squeeze through 390. Not really going, a little bit of a false breakout there. Same thing here. Now it goes without me. That's okay. It went without me. I'll get in on the next trade. I wait for the time here. So I'm up $97 on the day. This is the trade that sends me. Look at the time, 7:15. I look for a dip trade here. I add here at 7:16, looking for the squeeze up over 4. We got 414 printed on the top of the candle there. But that is the candle that sent me over $103 on the day. And it's kind of really choppy now. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm not really making as much on it. It's not pulling away anymore. I got a couple dip entries. It worked. I'm just taking my time on it. I think I might have gotten a couple more trades on it, and that was it. But that is how you read level 2 and price action, and how to really time your entries and focus on what are the levels that you need to break when you're trading these stocks. I'm just quickly going through here to see if my P&L ever changed. Doesn't look like I took any more trades on SGN, but SGN gave a really nice momentum, really nice play. I hope that really broke down everything for you guys. I didn't go really in depth over how to read level 2 in this video, because I do have a video on how to read level 2 and what I'm looking for in the trades. But those were really good setups on how to time your entries and exits. And so if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be there to answer it for you. I really do hope that this gave you a little bit of help when you trade. But we'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. I stream live every day on TikTok at 7 a.m. So I'll be live tomorrow as well. But I appreciate everyone tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.